channel, or welcome back if you've already been here. It's good to have you here. I am Mama Bear to many. I am mom to 14 children. 12 of my children are still at home, and today we're going to go over food storage. I'm going to give you 15 easier meals that are all from dry foods, so you wouldn't need to use anything from the refrigerator or anything like that. And it's important to have these meals because if things got tough, or your, say like hurricane came through or something like that and you didn't have power, well, things are going to go rotten fast, so you would be relying on your food storage. So I'm going to show you. I have been doing this for years and years and have grown like a huge food storage, mainly because we have had some really hard times, and I can see the importance of having the food storage. So I'm going to give you just some basic meals that I could put together really quick, or that you could put together. What I suggest is take 7 meals, whether it be these meals or your favorite meals that you could have as shelf stable. Take those meals and take those 7 meals and at least get a 3-month supply of those meals. That would be my first step, even before or as I am working on my bulk dry food storage. So in 2 weeks, next week, I think we're going to be doing medicines as well as herbal medicines, and then the following week we're going to be going on to dry food storage. So I'm going to talk about dry food storage that coming week, and I'm also going to give you recipes that are gluten-free recipes to go with your dry food storage. So some of these things here might have some sides that would need those bulk dry food storage, but they wouldn't necessarily need them. It would just be a blessing to have them. All right, so let's go. So the first thing that I ever put in my food storage was quick and easy. Now, we are gluten-free, so obviously if you're not gluten-free, you don't need gluten-free. You can just get some regular pasta. So we have pasta and we have spaghetti sauce. So say that you want to have this once a week for 3 months, you would need 13 of these. So you might go to the store one day, and if there was some spaghetti sauce on sale, you could just get 13 spaghetti sauces. I've seen it get marked down. Now this is a couple years back, so I'm not quite sure, but I am thinking probably $1.50 for this, and regular pasta would be like $1, $1.50. So for $3 you would have a meal that you could feed your family. So say you took $3 times 13, you would get 13 of these and 13 of these, and then you would have 13 weeks of one type of meal. There you go. If you wanted to, you could also add, I don't know if they sell canned hamburger, but I'm pretty sure they sell canned beef chunks. This is beef chunks. You could use that, or you could use canned chicken to add some protein to your sauce. So there you go. That's the first meal. Spaghetti sauce, hamburger, and pasta. Also in there, try to read this from the back. In there, you could also add seasonings as well as dry onion. So it could be dry onion like this. It could be dry onion from a spice container. However you wanted to do it, this is going to be used a lot. Okay, next meal I would take dry potatoes, or you could also do canned potatoes for this. But this one, I'm just going to do dry potatoes. So you can have dry potato slices like this. And last I checked, these were on sale. The shreds and the dry potatoes were both on sale yesterday when I looked. So I'm going to try to get this video out Saturday, so they hopefully will still be on sale. You can get all of these big artisan farms on Amazon as well, or that's where I had gotten these ones. So dry potatoes, dry peppers, dry onions. Where's my onions? And dry onions. So what I would do is I would soak the 3 of these. I would probably soak them for a couple hours, and then I would make a cream sauce. I would use some coconut oil, which I forgot to bring out here. So I'm actually videoing this in a cabin on my property because my house honestly has so much canning going on right now. I have a sick baby, poor little thing. So she is snuggling and she is sleeping with my daughter right now. So I wanted to just kind of keep everything out here so you guys could hear me better as well, because this is such important information. Okay, so you take your dry potatoes, you take your dry peppers, you take your dry onions, you let those soak for a couple hours. Once you've let those soak, you drain them. So then you could use like reconstituted butter powder, you could use oil, you could use coconut oil. Most likely, if I were doing it, I would be doing coconut oil. So I would be then making a cheese blend. So almost like a roux, but I would be using dry milk powder and cheese blend powder. So I'd be using those two, and we would make some nice, I don't know what they're called. Are they called scallop potatoes, au gratin potatoes? I forget. One of those has cheese in it, and one of those doesn't have cheese in it. So you can use that there. Now, if you wanted to add that for a full meal and you wanted a nice protein in there, you could add hunks of ham in there. You could add really any meat to that, make a big casserole, and you are well on your way for meal 2. So that would be meal 2. And then the next meal is going to be, it can be hamburger or any type of meat. I have meat chunks here. I need to can some more hamburger this year. We're butchering a cow, and I'm going to can some more hamburger. I might actually end up buying some hamburger. I'm not quite sure, but this would work just fine. So you would take your meat, and then you would season it with taco seasoning. You could also use chicken. Use your taco seasoning, use a little bit of water, and you're going to season your meat. So seasoned meat, and you're going to serve that over rice. Okay? Now that's a meal. You can have canned veggies with it, any veggie that you would like, or store-bought canned veggies, anything that you would like to go with that. Now, another thing that you can take the leftovers to that meal to make it into a 4th meal would be to make taco soup. So you're going to take that leftover, if there is any. You could make this as a fresh meal as well. Your taco soup, you're going to take your taco meat, your meat, and then you're going to add other things to that meat. You can take your meat, your leftover rice, whatever veggies you had left over from the night before, and then to that you're going to add some black beans, and you're going to add some corn. I don't see the corn right here. Anyway, corn. Let's pretend this is corn. I would add black beans and corn, and maybe even some tomatoes. There was some diced tomatoes in here. What we had to do is we had to like load this up in the wheelbarrow because one of the boxes that we had like fell through. So I don't know if like those are sitting probably outside of the door or something. Anyway, so you would make that into a nice soup. You might need to add a little more taco seasoning, and you might need to add a little bit of salt, but that will come out wonderful. So that would be our 4th meal. So we have spaghetti sauce, we have spaghetti, and then we have the potato meal, and then we have the hamburger taco meal over rice, and then we also have taco soup. Now, if you had corn chips or whatever on hand, you could use that as well. You could use taco shells as well. Whatever you want to do. I'm just trying to like give you a bigger scope so you guys can get some ideas, use those, and run with them. Okay, so the 4th thing is going to be, this is great for the summertime too, a really quick and easy salad. So what you're going to do is you're going to cook up your pasta, drain your pasta, run it under some cold water, and then you're going to add some peas and some tuna. So for every box of pasta, you want 1 can of peas and 1 can of tuna, and then some mayonnaise and some seasoning. I like to use adobo and salt and pepper for seasonings for this, and mix that all up, and that is a great shelf-stable cold salad. So that can just be eaten fresh like that. Just make sure if you're going to have it as a cold salad that you do run these under cold water, which in an emergency situation, I'm sure you're going to have plenty of cold water, and it's going to be more difficult for you to get hot water. Anyhow, yes, that would be our next meal. Now the next thing is tomato soup. Now there's so many different ways to go with tomato soup. You could just buy cans of tomato soup, Campbell's, whatever brand you want, and I keep some of this sometimes for backup. Our family likes to make homemade tomato soup from things that we make, so we would have chopped onions and celery. I would saute that in some oil, whatever oil that you wanted. I would saute those 2 things. And then I would add some garlic, which I do not have out here, but I add some garlic just because we like that flavor. And then I would saute that. I would add a little bit of any type of thickener. I could add flour. I could use gluten-free flour. I could use arrowroot powder. I could use cornstarch, whatever kind of thickener that I would want to that oil, celery, onion mixture. And then I would add some spaghetti sauce, or I don't season my sauce. It's just tomato puree. So I would add my tomato puree to that, and then what I would do is mix that around, and then I would take and mix up some of my milk and make my milk about the same. So if I had 2 jars of this sauce, I would have 1 jar of the milk that I would want. So about half of the amount of soup that's already in the pot, I'm gonna make milk. And that's gonna be our tomato soup. That's how I like to make tomato soup. But yeah, if you're just starting out, grab yourself some cans of tomato soup. Now, what do you want? The way that I make it, we actually find it really hearty, but you can be making bread with that. You could make it in a bread bowl. You can make it, you could serve it with crackers. You can make grilled cheese. Now, like I said, we're going to have another video talking about all those types of dry storage things that we need in order to make things like bread, like biscuits, like cornbread. All those things, we're going to be going through that, not next week, but the following Saturday. Okay, so then, let's see. The next one I have on my list is chili and cornbread. I like to make my own chili, but you can also buy just some chili beans like this. If you take those chili beans like that, just grab yourself some salsa. This is home canned salsa, and mix those up. You can add some seasoning to that, obviously chili powder, and I would do paprika, salt, pepper. That would be that for the beans like that. For me, I actually could use any types of beans that we have. You could even buy like a 15 bean soup mix like this, cook these up, and then I would add, again, my salsa, tomato paste, and then my seasonings to go with that. So either way you want to do it, you choose. Okay, so next on my list I have baked beans. So I like to use white beans for my baked beans. So I have dry beans here. Dry beans are great for both short-term and long-term storage. So we're going to have the dry beans here, and then I have ketchup. This is not ketchup. This is mayonnaise. This is not mayonnaise either. Goodness, this is mustard. So I have this mustard as well as this mustard, whatever kind of mustard we wanted. Ketchup, molasses, brown sugar, whatever you're going to put in your baked beans. Everyone makes them different. But you also could, if you wanted to, just buy tins of baked beans. I didn't have any, I'll be honest. Like, my kids, they're like, ew, what are those? They really do not like store-bought baked beans. They want home-cooked baked beans. So I did not have those on hand to share with you guys. But yeah, you can use all that stuff. I should mention, too, to add some nutrition, I always have... Okay, I always have it, but I don't have it here. Broth. I always have tons of broth. So I always cook my rice and my beans in either chicken stock or beef stock, because that's going to up your nutrition level so much. So I would be cooking those beans in beef broth there. So what am I going to have with my beans? You know I'm going to have cornbread. So remember, we'll be back with those. Okay, chicken noodle soup could be a can like this, or homemade chicken noodle soup. As a big family, I think like these types of things are so easy. This is what I call my fast food. So I would just take chicken. I asked my daughter to grab these from the basement, so she got me a pint. Honestly, I would use 2 quarts if I was doing my household, but I have this to show you guys. So chicken or turkey, any type of vegetables that you have on hand. That's some carrots, some green beans. Obviously, these can all be tinned. You do not have to home can this. Although it's a blessing to home can them, they don't need to be home canned. Some cabbage, Whatever you want to throw in there is perfectly okay. And then you can throw your noodles in there for chicken noodle soup, or you could throw your rice in there for chicken and rice. Okay, another thing that is quick and easy, and these soups, I make quite a bit in the wintertime, and it's so easy for younger kids to make because all they have to do is like dump it in there. So I have some beef chunks. Oh, maybe that's pork chunks. That's pork chunks. Either way, beef stew. Let's go for beef stew. Beef. And then we have all of our vegetables again. We can use canned potatoes or we can use dehydrated potatoes. I actually have a big jar of soup mix, which is a bunch of vegetables all put together. It has dried zucchini, it has dry beans, it has dry peas, it has dry carrots. All the things that I dehydrated just little bits throughout the summer, I will throw them in a gallon jar, and that will be different things also that I could just take a handful of that or a cup of that and throw it into a big pot of soup, and that's going to add lots of different nutrition in there and lots of different vegetables as well. And it's a way to use up. If I just have like one zucchini, I'm not going to be making like a huge batch of anything, but it is a way that I can preserve that little bit of zucchini if it was going bad or whatever it might be, and I'm not wasting it. Okay, so beef stew. So now this actually is so easy. This is how we make our red beans and rice all the time. So in our house, I actually, mind you, we are feeding at least 14 people a day. Lots of times we're feeding more than that, and a lot of times I'm bringing meals to other places. I keep all my beans in storage totes like this, just like that. So, red beans and rice. I would put red beans, and I would cook the red beans, and then I would add salsa. For every 1 pound of dry beans that you're going to do, it's going to be about 1 jar of salsa and 1 can of tomato paste. So mix those up together, and you're going to serve that over rice. So we're going to have red rice and beans. Now you can serve that with any other vegetable. You can serve it with the green beans. You can serve it with applesauce. You can we actually eat it a lot with applesauce because applesauce is free to us. Or not really free, but I get the apples for free. So just the like lids and that type of stuff, and the cost of canning them and all that. Okay, so that's red rice and beans. So let's see, where are we at? I think we're at 12. Split pea soup. So if you have not had split pea soup, I know it looks kind of disgusting. It looks like green mush, but it is so good if you make it correctly. So you're gonna have split peas, and you're going to cook those split peas in chicken broth is our favorite. So you're going to cook those in chicken broth, or you can cook them in ham broth. So not ham broth, pork broth. Pork broth or chicken broth are both great. I really don't prefer beef broth, but you could if you wanted to. So either of those are great, or you could take, if you had some fat back, you could throw that in. Scraps of pork would be fine, throw that in there. So then I'm going to add, for every pound, I'm going to add a quart of potatoes and a quart of carrots. And then I'm going to add about 2 tablespoons of garlic, a teaspoon of salt. And that is it. It's just going to cook until the peas are fork tender, maybe a little longer. And my kids even love it, which at first a lot of kids were like, ew, that looks gross. Then they tried it and they will ask for more and more and more and more. So yeah, super great meal. Some of us like more salt on it, and some people put like, I have like pickled jalapenos in the basement, or like hot sauce, or those types of things. Some people enjoy it like that. Some people want to put salsa on top. I just like mine plain, to be honest with you. I put a little extra salt compared to what they do. I like Himalayan pink salt. Okay, so that would be split pea soup. And then the next thing is going to be pork, which is here. I'm going to take canned pork, and then I'm going to add barbecue sauce. It can be home barbecue sauce, or it could be store-bought barbecue sauce. There really is a blessing in canning your meat. You can make so many fast food things by canning meat. Now, you can buy store-bought meat and can store-bought meat, and that will work just fine. You can have homegrown meat, but canning meat, to me, I would rather, if I could pick one thing to can, I think meat would be it, because it can make life so convenient. So, canned pork, barbecue sauce. Now, that's pulled pork right there, okay? So we got pulled pork going on, and we're gonna put that on top of rice, or we're gonna put it on some leftover potatoes. You could even take that canned barbecue pork and put it over, remember we were making this scallop potato over here? We could serve those things together, and that would be pretty good together. Whatever you wanna do, whatever your family likes, think outside of the box. My daughter did not bring these. I'm thinking probably because she could not find them, because I kind of kept them secret because they tend to go fast. On other videos I showed you, we have meat jars like this, but I actually made pork sausage patties, and I made them and I fried them up, and then I stacked them in here, and then I poured water over them, and it made sausage patties. Now, you could take those sausage patties and then gonna stir fry that with some onions, dehydrated onions, and cabbage. Maybe you have some zucchini, maybe whatever type of vegetables you have. It wouldn't have to be zucchini and all that type of stuff. It can be whatever kind you want. You could also, we're going to talk about breads again, and so if you wanted to put that on bread or anything, you could do that. Now, soup, you can make almost every kind of soup with any type of dry ingredient. Okay, so my can of all those dehydrated veggies and stuff, you can just take all those and throw them in. You can take anything that we had here, and we call it like garbage soup. I know it sounds disgusting, but if you took any type of canned meat or any type of vegetables, you could do whatever veggies you want. To make minestrone soup, basically all you're doing is you're going to take whatever vegetables you want, and you're going to cook that in a beef broth, and then you're going to add a can of tomato puree on top of that, and then your seasonings, whatever kind that your family likes, you're going to add that to that. So that is 15 meals, guys. Pretty exciting. Okay, so you guys pick out whatever kind of meals you want to, and down below write down what meals you guys are prepping so that everyone can kind of read it and bounce things off of each other. Last video, when I first started this food storage series, there was a lot of great comments, so make sure if you're beginning, or even if you're not, I learned some stuff there. Go down in the comments, leave a comment, read the comments, and you guys chat between each other too, because let's bless each other in this way. So next week we are going to go over what basic medical supplies I keep, as well as my herb supplies, and then we're going to make a couple herbal type things together. So come back next week. I hope y'all have a blessed week.